Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. How is everybody doing today? I hope well. Welcome to Therapeutic Wisdom from the AKASH and Awoken TV. Definitely check out www.awoken.tv for additional courses and films and shows that can offer you assistance on your spiritual and metaphysical journey. It's like a spiritual and metaphysical Netflix. So if you haven't checked out Awoken TV on the App Store or on their website, again, www.awoken.tv, definitely do that. Bunch of conscious filmmakers and light workers that are here to change the world, to raise the vibration of the planet. Please say hello if you're hopping on. Make sure too that you know if you guys are watching from the Akashic Academy or from Emerge Healing and Wellness, that I'm not going to be seeing your comments live. The only time I see comments live is if you comment on the Awoken TV page. So definitely hop over there if you want to communicate on the live, because I do really appreciate communicating with the audience, getting an understanding of what's coming up for you so that we can get things done, right? So today we're going to be talking about breath work. I am currently sharing this out, so please do so as well for anybody that you know could benefit from learning some additional strategies for using our breath, our life force energy, for preventing dis-ease, for preserving our vibe, for activating our vibe, and chilling ourselves out, right? So say hi and let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I want to make sure the comments are working because it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So definitely say hi if you're here. And let me know what you guys are doing this weekend. What's everybody up to? Does anybody have plans this weekend? We are going to be going hiking a couple times, I think. That's our plan. There's a couple beautiful hikes that are near us, and it's supposed to be a gorgeous weekend. So I would so appreciate being able to be outside with my family for a period of time, picking up rocks, etc. So happy new moon. It's a super new moon in Libra, which is beautiful because this is actually the closest moon and the largest the moon's going to be in the year 2020 to our planet, which means we have a lot of magnetic pull right now. So are any of you near the beach? Say hello, raise your hand if you guys are near the beach. Let me know if you guys can see any difference in the tides, because we definitely have a close moon. I'm feeling the energy. The new moon is when the energy is so the new moon is when the moon is the darkest. So it's associated with a lot of shadow work, which is, releasing some of those things that no longer serve us and being able to set intentions for the new moon cycle. So a darkness does not always have to feel like, oh, I'm going to be sad and I'm going to be down and bringing up old karmic stuff. I mean, it can, but obviously we honor that as an opportunity to clear and open up space for the goodness to come in. But it's also creativity. The darkness is creativity and is a space, it's space for possibility, for opportunity. So definitely see this as fertile ground right now. Take care of yourselves, lots of rest and TLC. Okay. Hi, Christy. All right. Beautiful. Yes. See, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that there would be super, super crazy tides right now because of the super new moon. So thank you for sharing and letting me know that the comments are working. That always makes me happy. So today we are going to be talking about breath work. So how many of you have integrated breath work into your daily practice or into just a fairly consistent practice? It doesn't have to be daily. I remember that when I first was going to therapy, not first, but like at one point when I was going to therapy and I had anxiety that I was working through, I was taught the standard box breath, which is breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, and then releasing for a count of 4. And it didn't work for me. In fact, I hated it. I found it to be, I think my anxiety, maybe it's a sign of where my anxiety was, but I was so fixated on, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? And I didn't like the holding at the top. I definitely didn't like the holding at the top. It made me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel stifled. So, you can try the standard box breath, making sure that when you breathe in, you're breathing very, very deeply, all the way into what we call the pelvic bowl, like right that dip right down there in our pelvis, as deeply as we can at the base of our spine to really excavate and pull up any of that old sticky energy. So that's kind of the rule in general when you're dealing with deep breath work. And we also have a 3-part breath, which I definitely like better than the standard box breath of breathing in for 4, holding for 4, and breathing out for 4. And what I would do is I would modify that to just not hold it at the top because I didn't like holding. In fact, I prefer to hold the breath at the bottom. So when I'm in the space of the Akashic records, I will pause at the top sometimes just to like internalize and integrate some of the belief systems that I'm shifting. But pausing on the after the exhale seems to be much more effective for anxiety for me and for a lot of the clients that I know. So that's just a little tip that you can try as well. And if you want to try it right now and give me some feedback as to how those feel for you, either pausing at the top or pausing at the bottom, and which one you prefer, let me know. So the standard rule, and I'll get back to the other breathing technique in a second, but the standard rule is that when you're dealing with any kind of dis-ease, discomfort, anxiety, negativity, etc., you extend your exhale. You want to make your exhale longer than your inhale. Every single time you do that, your system is going to be signaled to calm down. Okay, so definitely at a very basic level, if you don't have the time or patience or attention span to count your breaths or to really sit down and do a consistent focused breath practice, just make your exhale longer than your inhale. Okay, so that's a super quick one. The other thing is the 3-part breath, right? So the 3-part breath I liked better than the box breath because for this one, you're really focusing on your physical body, which I like because we want to have a greater and more intimate relationship with our physical bodies so that we get those cues and messages from our bodies when we are missing something, right? There's some kind of message that we need to receive, or there's some kind of shifting that needs to be done that we might not necessarily be conscious of, and our bodies alert us to that. So when we do the 3-part breath, you're focusing on breathing in your sacral chakra, which is right underneath your belly button. Your lower abdomen is another way of saying it. So you're breathing into there and then breathing into your chest and then breathing in up here. You can call it the upper heart or the throat area, okay? And so the idea is that you're kind of watching and feeling your body rise and fall as you follow this breath, and then you follow the same sequence when you're breathing out. And once you practice this enough, it's considered to be the most effective when you don't have a stop and start. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to breathe in here and then breathe in here and then breathe in here, right? It's not supposed to be choppy. It's supposed to be seamless and flowing in a very smooth way. So the only way to do that is to practice it, right? Because otherwise it's going to feel choppy because you're focusing on one at a time. But I like it because your focus is not on counting, which can actually be very obsessive, especially for people with anxiety. You're not focusing on counting. You focus more on just your physical body and the sensations you're getting and like, okay, this is full now. Now I'm going to move to this. So it helps you tune into your body more and connect more with your cues. Okay. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. So another general rule for breath work is that when you breathe rapidly, you activate your energy. And when you breathe slowly, you calm your energy and activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relaxation response. And this relaxation response benefits your entire system. It benefits your emotional health. It benefits your organs. It, adds oxygen to, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later, but it adds oxygen to your lungs so that your respiration and the oxygenation of your blood actually increases. Okay, so your system is allowed to relax because it's like, oh, I have access to so much, right? I have access. I'm swimming in breath. I'm swimming in life force energy. So that's just another pointer for you guys to keep in mind, okay? And I'll tell you guys a little bit about rapid breath. I'll show you what they are so we can practice them together. And then the slower breath that I find, there's a couple of breath techniques that I find the most effective, which I will share with you in just a bit so that you can integrate them. And you can literally do them for a handful of breaths, and it can really change your clarity in your mind. It can really change your energy level. And it relieves pain. I find that one of the best tools, in fact, I got to say the best tool for me in managing my pain, because I have neuropathy, is my breath. When I send breath to those areas intentionally and I'm really conscious of how I'm breathing, it provides me with an enormous amount of relief. It's almost like a cooling effect that you're getting. Like if you put on BioFreeze. Has anybody ever used BioFreeze? It's such a fabulous product. Anyway, it's good for relieving pain and muscle tension and things like that. All right. So let me think about what I want to tell you guys next about breath work. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to teach you my favorite breath technique. I'm going to teach you the alternate nostril breathing. And I'm actually going to give you guys a little bit of a present here today because I'm going to give you in addition to the alternate nostril breathing that I taught my certification students in class a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago. That so let me tell you a little bit about this. So we all have paranasal sinuses. Does anybody know where the paranasal sinuses are? We have paranasal sinuses, right, which are existing here and here. And what they basically are is little pockets, okay? Almost like you can almost view them as like empty ventricles, okay? Just like we have in our brain. Because our sinus cavity is pretty big, like our nasal cavity is pretty big behind our face here. Like it's a pretty big area. But we have these little paranasal sinus cavities, okay? And when we fill these with breath by breathing through our nose, they only get activated when we breathe through our nose, obviously. They create a higher amount of nitric oxide, okay? So it activates the creation of nitric oxide. And when we do this, the nitric oxide goes into our lungs more rapidly when we breathe through our nose. And nitric oxide is a vasodilator, however you like to pronounce that, which means that it's expanding the blood vessels and it's oxygenating the blood more. So it really eases our process of breathing in our lungs, right? We have greater access to oxygen, our bodies get to relax. So breathing in and out through your nose is brilliant because it really activates and generates that nitric oxide and improves our overall health in general, okay? So that happens when we breathe in and out through our nose. And I'm gonna show you that technique in just a minute. But when you add humming, when you exhale through your nose, you activate that nitric oxide and that infusion into your lungs times 15 times greater amounts of nitric oxide enter your lungs. Absolutely fascinating. Okay, because what you're doing is when you're humming, you're vibrating this area, right? So you're activating it more. So we're going to practice that. All right. So alternate nostril breathing is my favorite tool for reducing anxiety and assisting with the relaxation response. So this is going to be helpful if your body is agitated in any way, shape, or form. This could be physical disease, this could be anxiety, it could be restlessness, what have you. Okay. And the reason it's so effective is because you are narrowing your airway to the smallest possibility. Right? When you breathe, when you hold one nostril and you breathe in through one side, which is what we're going to do in a moment, you restrict your airway to a point where you are forced to breathe slowly because it's very hard for us as humans to actually slow down and control our breath just by thinking about it. If we practice for a long time, we absolutely can. But from the get-go, this is highly effective. It really brings the body down. It really brings the anxiety and the agitation down, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in one side of your nose very, very deeply all the way into that pelvic bowl, like I said earlier. And then you're going to switch and exhale out the other nostril. Let all the air out, every last bit. Now breathe in again through the same side, really deeply into your pelvic bowl. And out the other side. Now I recommend you do this for between 7 and 11 breaths. I usually choose 9 because it's right in the middle. But I allow the Akashic records to really intuitively dictate to me what number is really ideal for that moment in time. But definitely just don't do it a couple times like we just did. Keep it going, keep it continuous, and make sure those breaths are deep. So now we're going to do that exercise again. And when we breathe out through our nostrils, we are going to hum. Now, I like to hum almost like I'm oming. Okay. You guys can choose whatever pitch you'd like. In fact, the higher the pitch, the better, because you're increasing your frequency as well at the same time. But let's try that again. So we're going to breathe through one nostril, and then we're going to switch to the other when we breathe out. And when we breathe out this nostril, we're going to hum. And then we breathe back in that side and then breathe out the other side and hum. Okay. So everybody take just a regular deep breath in just to recenter your energy. Just releasing any tension from your physical body. And we're going to breathe in one side. And breathe out the other and hum. Another breath in. And out the other side, hum. So how does everybody feel about that? I know you might want to blow your nose first, right? How does everybody feel with that process? Let me know. I would love to see how that's feeling for you, especially if you continue to do it on a regular basis and do it for a good 9 breaths at least, right? So you're really doing your body a service and your mental health and the clarity cognitively in your mind, a real service by using this breath work. So it's a very loving practice. So definitely honor yourself by giving yourself this loving practice today or any other day where you feel you really need to just access that parasympathetic nervous system and chill out, okay? Yeah, I laughed at myself when I first did this one too. I definitely laughed at myself. It does tickle a little bit. You don't necessarily want to do this like on a first date. Like across the dinner table with somebody. It might be awkward. All right, so that's my favorite breath. And when you add the humming in, it activates that nitric oxide and increases the oxygenation of your blood and your organs, particularly your lungs. So yay on that one. It's a huge celebration to add that into your toolkit for sure. The other thing that I want to teach you guys is, and this is so brief, I'm not giving you guys a really big breath class here today. This isn't a master class, but how many of you have done fire breath in Kundalini yoga or in really any kind of breath practices? It can be integrated, but fire breath, in my opinion, I mean, I know there's people who see it as there's only one way to do it, but fire breath is really about generating heat within your body. It's really about generating fire, right? So it's anything that you're doing that really rapidly uses your breath and moves your breath, okay? And by the way, what is breath? Right, that's our life force energy. Like I said earlier, it's prana is another word for it, right? And it runs up and down our spine. And the best way for us to clear this pranic channel and to have the most flow coming through and accessing our physical body and our energetic body is to straighten our spine. So you can the best way to straighten your spine is to tuck your tailbone a little bit and tuck your chin just a little bit, okay? Because when you do that, your spine is really straight. All right, so that's a really good way to do it. And you can also ground your feet on the floor so that when you're exhaling, you're really sending this energy into Mother Earth, allowing it to be shifted and transmuted. Okay? All right. You didn't hear my hum? Well, it was probably pretty quiet because I can't make it too loud just on the video. You're not going to be able to hear it very well. And it's hard to make it loud. Do you want to try it again, Laura? You want to try it one more time? Let's try it one more time and see if I can get louder. And I'll get a little closer to the screen to see if you can hear me, okay? Let's try it one more time. One side. Another deep breath in. Could you hear it that time? Let me know if you can hear me. It's hard to transmit like such a soft tone, such a muted tone over the internet, right? All right, so it's hard. You'll notice if you try it that it's not easy to make it loud. At least it's not easy for me to make it loud. Maybe I need to practice more. But anyway, all right, so fire breath. The point is to generate heat, because in Kundalini Yoga, the concept is that we bring this heat. Oh, good. I'm glad you heard it, Laura. You bring this heat from the base of our spine, from our root chakra, that foundation, that foundational energy center for our entire body, for our entire chakra system. And we kind of pump the breath from the base of our spine, and we pump it up through the crown of our head. And there's a lot of practices in Kundalini Yoga, yoga being one of them, to assist with this, of course. But fire breath is one way to quickly activate the heat within us. And we are also activating our energy in general. So if you need to be energized, any kind of rapid breath is going to assist you with doing that, okay? So you're really transforming the energy of the breath into heat is what you're doing, which is cool because it just makes you feel like an alchemist, right? Like you're shifting and changing the chemical composition, which you are when you're doing this breath work of your physical body and of your mind, okay? So when we do the breath work, you're really just pumping. You're pumping from your lower abdomen, okay? Use your diaphragm if you want as well to assist you with this pumping, because our diaphragm is a muscle that exists right here, right in our solar plexus, between our heart and our solar plexus, okay? It's like right under our lungs. And what we do is when we inhale, that diaphragm actually expands, right? It opens down so that it opens up more opportunity for us to bring in breath. So the more that you work with your diaphragm and you work with that muscle and you exercise it with this breath work, you're expanding the capacity for the breath that you bring in, which is just so cool. How cool is that, right? That we can expand our capacity for holding breath and for holding energy. Okay. So anytime you feel like, oh, I'm so depleted or something, you're really expanding that diaphragm and allowing more breath to come in. Okay, really working that muscle. And then when we breathe out, it pushes up so it can force it out. So the more forceful we want to be, like when we're with fire breath, the diaphragm's really productive with helping us with that. Okay, so we're going to generate some heat with doing a little bit of fire breath right now. So what I do is I make my lips like an O. Okay, because we're going to do a very rapid breath from the base of our abdomen. So I'm going to start this and you guys can see what I'm doing and you can join me. I'm not going to do it for very long because I don't want anybody to pass out on me. You want to make sure that if you have any issues with your blood pressure or with dizziness, that you're very conscious of how rapidly you move your breath. I couldn't do this a few years ago. I couldn't do this probably 2 years ago, because I was too dizzy. So definitely tune into your body first. You can try some of the other breath work if rapid breath work is not something that supports your physical body right now, okay? All right, so just a regular deep breath in. And we're gonna enter into the fire breath here. Pumping up, getting that fire going and that heat generated within us. And while you're doing this, you're really contracting those muscles in your lower abdomen and feeling your diaphragm, okay? Make that be where you're pumping from, right? Like you almost have one of those things that fans a fire and you're going like this to fan the fire. Use your lower abdomen to do that. Okay, so that's one way to activate your energy and to generate heat and to feel like a powerhouse, because you're shifting this life force energy, this breath, into heat energy. And when we transmute it into heat energy, it's like massaging our organs. It's like warming that area, warming our insides, right? And it's providing us with soothing. And it's also giving us an additional momentum to be able to move forward and do whatever it is we need to do that day or in that moment, okay? So let me know if you guys have questions so far about this breath work. I'm going to show you, I think, at least one more technique. I think I'm just going to show you guys one more technique before we go. So how many of you use tapping? I know that there is a show on Awoken TV. I think it's by Joya Gibble on tapping. And if you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to. But tapping is one of my favorite modalities, and I've talked about it in some of my other shows. It's called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's an energy psychology technique that allows you to tap on the acupressure points that connect to the primary energy meridian that runs up and down your spine. This is the energy meridian that our breath runs up and down and activates, clears, heals, and opens a channel for, okay? So when we access this channel by tapping on the acupressure points, we're shaking up the energy a little bit, okay? We're shifting it around, we're activating it. And when we do that, we can realign it and we can reorganize it in a way that serves us. So we can implement new belief systems. And I like this practice because you get to release the stuff that no longer serves you and integrate that does serve you, okay? And the new beliefs that even if they're not in place right now, that those are the ones that you want to hold going forward, okay? So it's like a manifestation practice and a releasing practice and a breath practice all in one. So the reason I'm bringing up EFT is that when you are practicing EFT, you're tapping away and you get onto a spot that feels tender. Like this one feels tender to me today. It's just a little like, I probably have something going on there, okay? So what I typically do with my clients is we sit here and we tap and we say, all right, I'm gonna stay on this point and I'm just gonna breathe in a little bit more deeply here. So just do me a favor, if you guys are watching, just tap these couple points and then get to right here below your eye. We're not going to use statements right now. I'm just going to show you how this works, okay? So it feels a little tender, and your tender point might be here, and it might be here, and it might be here. So it doesn't have to be this one, but this is my tender point. Or if you're releasing statements like, oh, I feel so tired today. I can't believe that I feel so crappy. I'm so pissed off that I always feel so crappy, right? If that's what's going on for you, then you can also stop at a tapping point where the statement and the belief that you've said really like resonates with you or activates something within you or makes you feel like, oof, that was a rough one, right? So if that happens, you can stay on that point too with that belief system or that statement, okay? And so you're going to deep breathe here. And then you keep going. You're releasing statements. So you can say, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to take a nap. Why does this always happen to me, right? Oh my gosh, this is tender too. Okay, so you can like notice this is another tender spot, or that's another statement that really bothers me, or brings something forward. I just feel off or weird or activated or something, right? So you stay right here. And then you're going to not just breathe deeply like we did in the top one, but you're going to yawn, okay? Because yawning is, again, dipping into that pelvic bowl and pulling up all of that dense energy from the base of your spine. And you're excavating all that stuff and you're yawning it out, okay? So I recommend yawning at least 3 times while you keep tapping. Make sure you keep tapping while you do this. Really allow yourself to get into that yawn, okay? So that's another great way of integrating it with tapping. And then the last way that I will tell you to integrate breath work with tapping is any point that you're on that feels sensitive or uncomfortable. You can also do a really deep sigh and a loud sigh. So when we emit our breath in a loud, forceful sigh, we are communicating to our subconscious mind that it's okay to relax and that we are setting an intention to relax and let go, which is always a good thing. It's always a good thing to let our subconscious minds know that we are letting go. So while you're here, you take that deep breath in, you pause, take that deep breath in. It's a really audible, loud, forceful sigh. Okay? I feel better. I don't know about you guys. I haven't even done full breath work here. I literally could talk to you guys about breath work for about 3 hours. I have so many breathing techniques that are highly effective for shifting your energy. So please do not discount the power of your breath. That we have infinite access to this life force energy at all times, 24/7. It is the most ideal tool because we have access to it, right? We don't need to pay anything. We don't need to go anywhere. It doesn't matter where we are, we can use this tool, okay? So practice some of these and then come back to this live and note in the comments and tag me if you'd like what technique resonates the most for you. Right now, I want you to tell me what resonates so far. And then I want you to, after you've practiced these a little bit, identify which one feels the best. And you'll notice that your breath techniques will transition over time. Like it might be good for you to do alternate nostril breathing right now, but then you might shift to, hey, I need to jump into some of those yawns and tapping. Go for it. Okay, so it also depends on how you're feeling. It depends on what's coming up for you and you know how you're going about your day and what's going on in your life. Okay, so so definitely let me know how you feel about those. And I did mention pain briefly. I'm just going to say one more time so that it can be a little bit more specific with you, that when you are trying to relieve pain, it's helpful to really breathe intentionally. Close your eyes, please, and breathe intentionally into that space, and not just expanding it with the breath. You want to view it as expanding, but that it's accessing every tiny little cell and every little pocket that maybe hasn't received breath in a while into that area of your body. You're expanding, and you can also add light to it. You can envision that your breath has like a crystalline white light or something, right? Because that's a very healing energy, particularly in the space of the Akashic records. So, so I just wanted to be a little bit more specific about that so that if any of you have pain, you can use that tool as well. Okay. And we're going to be doing a lot of this work in Thrive, which is a course for chronic illness of any kind. So this can be chronic dis-ease, I should really say, because this can be physical discomfort, physical dis-ease, or it can be any kind of emotional dis-ease that's been going on chronically. And when we say chronic, that means for adults, 2 years or more of the same symptoms, and with an adolescent, 1 year or more. Okay, so that's what chronic means. And if you're dealing with that like I did, Daisy Farrell and I, she's a psychic medium and healer. We put together a course. It's a 7-week course that starts on October 29th that helps us with healing every single layer of our dis-ease. So it exists at the physical level. Trust me, by the time it gets into the physical level, it's already gone through the emotional level. It's already gone through the mental. It's already gone through the energetic. Okay, so we're going to help you tune into the little nuances of energy and shifts that you can make so that you can prevent it turning into a negative emotion, prevent it turning into physical discomfort or dis-ease. Okay, so we have a week for every single layer that this presents so that you know how to heal and have a roadmap going forward from physical or emotional chronic issues that arise. Okay, so this could be self-doubt, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be physical illness, it could be pain. Okay, so I have the link in the description of this video, and you guys can check on that to get more details about the course. And let me know if you have questions. You're always welcome to reach out to me privately to ask questions about the course. And what else was I going to say? I'll also drop the link for you guys in the comments so that you have access to it, okay? I am here every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so I definitely encourage you to join me here again next week. The Akashic Records usually download what it is they want me to do and bring forward on Thursdays. So I usually post exactly what the topic is going to be when I talk each week. So definitely check in. Thank you so much for joining me here live and on the replay. Tag me in comments if you need or would like answers from me directly, and I'm happy to come back to the chat and connect with all of you. Thanks so much. Love and light. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.